This is Gus Summers, and you're watching In-Show Celebrities. This is the time I take every Monday to talk about some of my favorite films and actors. This week, we have another of Hollywood's greatest legends, one of the original masters of cool, Mr. Robert Mitchum. This fine actor is so distinct in every film and every part that he's ever done, from film noir to modern dramas, and you can see easily why he is considered one of Hollywood's greatest actors. Well, first up, we have a film called A Wonderful Country. He portrays a man named Brady, who is an American who is born in Mexico and who transports different items across the border, to be sold. And in the beginning of the movie, he is transporting guns to be sold in Texas. But inadvertently, his horse rears, he breaks his leg, and has to stay in town for several weeks. And while he's there, he's meeting and getting to know all the townspeople more intimately. Some of them know him because he passes through. But now that he's there recuperating, he is beginning to know, become more friendly with the townspeople and actually kind of enjoying himself there. And one of the people he meets is the cavalry captain, portrayed by another wonderful actor, Mr. Gary Merle. As soon as you see him, you instantly recognize him. He was one of those actors that was a staple in Hollywood and film. So they meet, they want to kind of get to know each other, but the relationship is a little strained. In the meantime, he meets the captain's wife. And because the captain and his wife kind of have a strained relationship, Robert Mitchum begins to fall for her, and she for him. And she too is portrayed by a wonderful actress. She was not only an actress, but a dancer, a model, and a very, very accomplished singer. You know her from one of her many hit songs, but one in particular is called Cry Me a River. Her name, Miss Julie London. Yes, she portrays the captain's wife, who has an instant connection with Robert Mitchum, but of course because she's married, she kind of fights those feelings. But the way they talk with each other, and it was wonderful chemistry between them two. So Robert Mitchum is recuperating. He's getting better, and he has to leave. Why? Because a friend of his who was defending his honor against this other man who was, saying all kinds of things about Robert Mitchum. His friend stands up for him. The man kills him. And while Robert Mitchum is there and realizes what's happened, the man draws on him, and Robert Mitchum pulls a gun and shoots him. And kills him, and has to flee back to Mexico. And when he's in Mexico, he finds out within that, it's probably a span of 2 months, so much has changed. He was dealing with two brothers called the Castro brothers, and one of them ends up becoming a governor of the region, and another one becomes general. And then there's conflict between the brothers, and the brother who's a general doesn't like Robert Mitchum because he's friends with his brother. So and then something happens, and Robert Mitchum is being accused of a crime which he didn't commit. Now the Mexicans are after him, and then the Americans come, who are there dealing with their own issues. So now you have Robert Mitchum in the middle of something that happened in the United States, something that happened in Mexico, and the Americans and Mexicans are having their own battles, and they're all kind of looking to Robert Mitchum to get him and get him for a crime over here. And then the Americans decide that he's innocent and they're going to help him. So, but it's a wonderful story. Just I love the way the characters were developed. I love the cinematography. You have Texas and then Mexico in the backdrop, and beautiful. But I do want to point out one scene that stands out for me. It's when he's feeling better. He's going to go meet the captain, if I recall correctly, and the doctor has told him he should dress a little more appropriately. So he takes him to the general store, buys him clothes, a hat and everything, and he changes because he was wearing Mexican garb, and he looks, very Texan. He's wearing his coat, his pants, and he goes and he pulls on his hat. It's a big, Stetson hat. It's white. Now he looks completely Texan. Looks at the hat, grabs it, throws it, gets his sombrero, puts it on, and he smiles and winks at the doctor, like, here we go. This is still me. And he walks out. That was great. Still maintaining, his character, maintaining who he is, in that little scene. Great film. I know you would enjoy it as soon as you watch it. And what I liked about it is that, here he is. He's extending his acting ability. And he does it again in this next film. So he goes from, an American born in Mexico who speaks with an accent. I should mention that. So, and the way he speaks it, it's as if he spoke Spanish first, learned English second, and he has that accent. And he does something similar because we're going all the way to Ireland, where he is a IRA recruit, and he speaks with an Irish accent. The film, The Night Fighters. He portrays a young man who's recruited into this to this local chapter of the IRA. He is, he lives with his family. His father's proud. His mother is angry with him. He has an older brother, younger sister, and they just want him to be careful. And he has a love interest, and she wants him not to do it, and so on and so forth. But they end up, he ends up joining, and they end up doing little raids and so on and so forth. And him and his good friend go to a raid, and make a long story short, his friend ends up getting caught. His friend, another brilliant actor, Mr. Richard Harris. Yes, Robert Mitchum and Richard Harris in the same film. Fantastic. So Richard Harris ends up getting thrown in jail. The IRA group wants to retaliate. They want to attack the police barracks where the police live. Well, Robert Mitchum learns that the police barracks not only house the police, but also their wives and children. And Robert Mitchum draws the line right there. And he says, basically, I don't mind, fighting against men, but women and children, I have nothing to do with that. And what I liked about that was, it shows the character of a person. There's things I'll do. There's one thing amongst, honor amongst thieves, or, battle against man and man against man, but against women and children, I have nothing to do with. I love that. That was great in the film. And, well, that puts him in conflict with the group, and especially the leader. And the leader, another fine actor. When you see him, you're like, I don't recognize him. But you do, from his long career. A lot of us recognize him when he's older. His name, Dan O'Hillerhy. He is one of those brilliant actors that just stood out again in film. You'll most likely recognize him from the executive in the original RoboCop. That's him. Yes, now you can see him in all those great films. That's him. Yeah, he was acting for so many years. And just as a side note to let you know, Dan O'Hillerhy was also Krieg in The Last Starfighter. So for those of us that have seen The Last Starfighter, it's a great little sci-fi film. He's Krieg. He's the reptilian pilot. So now you know who he is. But here he is playing the IRA captain, who tells Robert Mitchum, well, if you're not with us, you're against us. And that basically means, we're going to have to kill you because now you know the plan. Because Robert Mitchum had told him, you can't do this because I'll go tell the police. You can't kill women and children. So they're basically going to put him on trial and basically end up killing him as a traitor. And just, long story short, there's drama, he escapes and so on and so forth. But there's one scene that I love. He escapes and he's going to the police station, and one of the men tells him, you can't go in there. We're waiting for you. And he looks in the town and he sees, he's in the town square. You know, there are fruit vendors, you know, or social people selling stuff. And right in front of the police station is one of the IRA men. And so as Robert Mitchum's talking, he picks up a potato and just kind of, you know, talking with it. And all of a sudden throws it towards the police station, breaks the window, and, you know, the police come running out. They're like, you know, who broke it? And then he just looks over. And they're like, good move. And he said, I broke it. And they took him in. And then the story continues from there. But again, you know, another wonderful movie. Again, he's extending his acting ability, which, you know, is fantastic. He sounds Mexican and he sounds Irish. So, you know, what a great actor. Push you forward a little bit here. He's known for his westerns, and he's been in some of the greatest western movies that Hollywood has produced. Well, one in particular, I know you've seen it. It's called El Dorado. It stars another western and Hollywood icon, Mr. John Wayne. You know, Robert Mitchum plays John Wayne's friend, who's a sheriff in town. John Wayne comes because he's basically a gun for hire, and he's hired by a local landowner who's in a constant conflict with the family next to him. You know, it's kind of like Hatfields and McCoys. So he wants John Wayne to go and take care of the business. That great actor, Mr. Ed Asner. Yes, you know, he always has that ability to play those, you know, those mean guys that you just want to, you know, just someone do something about him. So, long story short, John Wayne goes, finds out if he takes the job, he will have to fight his friend Robert Mitchum because Robert Mitchum's siding with the other family. He decides not to. Things happen. John would get shot. You know, he recuperates. He leaves, and then he goes back to the town, and he ends up siding with Robert Mitchum, and you know, the rest of the story unfolds. But there is one scene that I love to point out, and one of the co-stars is another brilliant actor. That's what I love about Hollywood and these films. You know, during a lot of these times, is that you bring so much talent together. You know, iconic actors who just fit well and produce something, you know, wonderful. Well, John Wayne is sitting in a bar, and this young guy walks in, and he goes to a table, and he's saying, you know, I'm looking for so and so. He has no guns on him. And he goes, I'm looking for so and so. And he goes, yeah, I'm here. He goes, well, I'm looking for you. I'm here to kill you. And everyone say, well, I want to see how he kills him because, yeah, he has no gun. The young guy reaches behind him and throws a knife, stabs the guy, and he dies. They're like, whoa. So, but great little scene. The character's name is Mississippi. And what I like about him is that he can't shoot with diddly, so John Wayne goes and gets him this sawed-off shotgun that he can, you know, carry aside and just basically, you know, shoot everything, right? But the actor, the great, wonderful James Caan, yeah, he does a great job as, you know, being the young, you know, the young gunslinger next to John Wayne and Robert Mitchum. Just a great film, you know, one of the best westerns. You know, Robert Mitchum is just one of those actors that, from the 40s basically up to the 90s when he passed away, he was constantly working. You found him as like I said, as one of those tough detectives in the film noir, westerns, military. He played good guys, bad guys, but always in the great Robert Mitchum manner. Well, that's, you know, what more can I say about this great legend other than you have to see his films. Well, that's what I got for you today. This is Gus Summers, and you're watching In-Show Celebrities. This is the time I take every Monday to talk about some of my favorite films and actors. And of course, be sure to check us out at theinshow.com, where you'll be able to find a link to our weekly show, The In Show. That's every Thursday from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 to 5 Eastern Time, and 9, 10 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, where we bring people into our studios live in Hollywood, and we just talk about, their projects and whatever's on their minds. And of course, be sure to look for us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Flickr, Instagram, all those great social media sites. And of course, as always, ladies and gentlemen, Gus has left the building.